Okay, welcome. I'm here at Central Wellness in the main studio, the Sun Studio upstairs. I'm just going to give you a quick, I say quick, maybe about 10 or it might be about 15 minutes of a little yoga practice that you can watch if you want to know a little bit about what we do here, or if you just need a quick little dose of yoga in your day, then obviously you can follow along as well. Okay? So I've got my mat, I've got one block which is quite useful. I'm also sitting on one of these little cushions which is quite comfortable. You find a way to sit that is comfortable as well. Okay, cross-legged is fine. If you need to stretch your leg out because you've got a knee injury, also fine. You find out what suits you, and this doesn't need to be a long, drawn-out procedure. It can just be maybe 30 seconds of taking a few deep breaths. More to the point, just starting to listen to your breath. Okay, that's really important. So just see if you can take a moment just to breathe in and out of your nose and pay attention to it. And it's a very simple idea, and if you can get that right, then it really sets the intention or the attitude for the whole rest of the practice. Okay. Sounds too simple to be true, but it is. Okay, so having done a little bit of that, open your eyes and we'll stay seated, just a couple of light stretches. Okay, take the left hand out alongside of the hips, reach the right arm over. Okay, avoid this feeling of collapsing down. Okay, that's not really going to help. So try to stay very side on, so watch your shoulder doesn't roll forwards, and just see if you can reach the arm up or even over. Okay, either is fine, whatever you can manage. Try to have the arm as straight as you can make it, and try to have a feeling like you're lifting out of the crown of the head. Okay, stay there a few breaths. Still breathing in and out of your nose. Stretch really long, lift the heart, and then come back through the middle. Across to the other side, of course. Right hand is down, left arm is going to spin upwards and maybe over. You see the way I'm leading with the palm of the hand? That's ideal if you can manage it. One thing you just be a little bit mindful of, that we don't end up crunching the neck here, sort of collapsing into the shoulder. So push away from there and stretch up. Nice length all the way through this side of the body. Okay, and then we'll come back through the middle again into a nice easy twist. Okay, right hand can come across outside the left knee. The left hand can just come behind you. Well, we don't need to overdo it, so just sit up nice and tall. Push the heart or the center of the chest forwards and up. And then just rotate through the shoulders, the upper back, the head and the neck. Make sure you've got enough space to breathe. Okay, don't wind yourself up too tightly. And then on your next exhale, come back through the middle and across to the other side, of course. Inhale, sit up. Exhale, turn. Couple more. Okay, and then you can come back through the middle. Just to straighten out again or lengthen out again, huck the thumbs and stretch up really tall. So you imagine you're going to lengthen one side of the body at a time again, and you can go a little bit side to side with this. Stretch up really long. See if you can push the upper back forwards. Lift the chest up. Lift the chin away from the chest. Stretch the arms up really long. It should feel like it's hard work. Just the right amount of hard work, and then exhale. Okay, so far so good. Let's get rid of the seat for a moment, or for a little bit, and come on to hands and knees. Now then, let's just keep moving. So, from hands and knees then, see if you can round the back a lot. We call these two movements the cat and the cow. Okay, this cat stretch where you try to round the upper back a lot. And then the cow stretch where you try to arch your back and lift the chin. Typically, you can imagine the cat, the rounding happens on the exhale breath. And the arching and the lifting is more of an inhale breath. That's more of an inhale pattern. Now then, come to a neutral spine. Take the knees a little bit further back and then work through these two movements, maybe slightly bigger movements. One is trying to come all the way back, so you're almost sitting onto your heels, but you're stretching the back of the body nice and long. And then the other is coming forwards, past hands and knees, and just see if you can start to drop the hips. This might feel a little bit much in your lower back, so don't overdo it. Having said that, if there's space, keep going. Pull the shoulders back. And then come all the way back again, okay? So the hands and the knees don't need to move between these opposing actions. It's all set up for you, and you just rock between the pair of them. One is stretching the back of the body, and then this one's a little bit more of an opening of the front of the body. Okay, next time we come back, we're going to turn it into a little mini downward facing dog instead. So tuck the toes under, keep on moving the hips back, and then lift the knees off. Now, downward facing dog does not need straight legs. It's a good option to go bent knees. It's a little bit of work for the legs, but bent knees, and try to push with straight arms, the hips up and back. Okay? See what you can manage there. And having said that, if you do want to, then you can straighten the legs one at a time and work some of the tightness out in the back of the legs. It can feel very nice. And hopefully you can approach it a little bit more gently so that it feels nice rather than feels, particularly difficult. So be nice to yourself in the practice. Don't overdo anything. Now then, once you're into somewhat of a downward facing dog, let's just move between there and a plank pose. Okay, so the feet are going to push you forwards. The shoulders are going to come forwards and the chin is going to lift at the top of plank pose. Okay, and then equally, the hands are going to push you all the way back again. And you drop the head down and lift the hips up. And you can see if the legs have a little bit more space, up to you. Let's go again then. Think about the feet and the legs pushing you forwards. And that should help you to keep the thighs strong. We don't want the legs to be heavy here, we want them to be lifting. And then again, use the arms to push you all the way up and back. Head down, hips high, maybe a little bit of pedaling of the legs. One more time into a plank pose, then use the feet, push. Lift the chin, see if you can hold just for a couple of breaths. No drama. Keep pressing the hands down, keep squeezing the legs up. And then to come down to the ground, then we'll drop the knees down first and we'll try to move forwards and then just bend the elbows. Keep it quite light. Release to the ground. Okay. The cobra pose then, a back bend. Two things really. You press the pelvis into the ground and then allow the chin and the chest to lift up. Okay, simple as that. Not easy, but simple. Chin and the chest lift up, and if possible, see if there's room for the shoulders to roll to the back of the body. Elbows are in. Now then, back into downward facing dog again. Push with the hands, lift the hips up and back, the head goes down, and each time you come through this movement, maybe there's a bit more space. One more time then, through all of that forwards. Okay, use the legs and lift the chin. Same thing again, drop the knees first, have good control, or as much control as you can manage as you lower. Try not to collapse in here, try to stay nice straight line. Cobra pose again, 2 strong actions, press down and lift up. And then roll all the way over the belly and the knees and the toes into downward facing dog again. Now then, from downward facing dog, let's see if you can step the right foot between the hands. So it's quite a long way to go. If you get sort of halfway and you need to shuffle a little bit, no problem. Drop the left knee down. Okay, this is what we call the low lunge pose. So low lunge with the legs, and then if you're able to and balanced, come up and see if you can reach the arms up. Take a nice big breath in here where you stretch up really long, and then exhale to come back out again. Do the other side. So step the right foot back, downward facing dog, and then maybe the left foot forwards. Set the legs, low lunge pose, and then again, if you're nice and balanced, keep the eyes still, reach the arms up, lift the heart up, and then again we'll release back down again. Downward facing dog. All the way back into downward facing dog, and then we'll just come and sit down. Okay? Now sitting down, a couple of seated postures, maybe the block is going to be useful here. Okay? So we're going to sit down, left leg straight, you'll bring the right foot in, and if you have your knee up here, then just use a block, or you could use the cushion again, just to support it, just to support its weight. Okay, so see where you get to with that. Turn towards the left leg. Okay, a little bit like we did before. Hug the thumbs and stretch up long. And then fold. Now this is not usually how it happens. There's usually some tightness in the back and the leg at the beginning. So we bend this knee to make it easier. Okay, I'll show you from slightly side on. We bend this straight leg to make it easier, and we just lean as far as we can manage. The hands give you balance. Okay, and then simple enough, you're just going to switch sides. So, straighten out the right, bend the left. We could be here again with the block. Hug the thumb, stretch up long, and then nice long forward bend. Some of you might be lucky enough to catch the foot. Not so much that you're going to pull with the arms though, avoid that. But you can hold it just for the same reason, a bit of stability. And you can always bend the straight leg. And if you're up here, don't be disheartened. That's all part of the journey. And you can know that whether you're here or here or here or here, the benefits are pretty much the same thing. Okay? Nobody's winning, it's all the same. Okay, last pose then. Last pose before we take a rest. You're going to come from sitting to lying down. Okay. Lying down, you're going to have both legs. See if you can extend them up. And it's much easier just to support the back of the legs with your hands. Okay. So the feet are pointing up. They don't need to be straight, but whatever you can manage. And then we'll just play with the feet a little bit. Pointing the toes, I should say, and then flexing the foot so the heels go high.
Do that a couple of times, and then make circles with the ankles. So we don't really usually think about the feet, but if you do think about it, they're probably quite important to most of our movement. So a little bit of work to keep them supple, to keep them moving is probably quite useful. Okay, you can stay with this as long as you feel you need to, or as long as you like to. At some point though, you come out, you release the legs all the way down to the ground, and you release the arms by your sides, and this is a yoga pose. It's even got a name, we call it Shavasana, and it's integral. It's important to stay here at least a couple of minutes. Maybe 5, maybe 10 if you can manage it. It's very therapeutic, very calming. Try to build it into your practice. You stay here as long as you like. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the little presentation.